Good afternoon, everybody. This is Casey Reginald Jr.
It's your man J-Dub, Justin Waters in the building.
And your boy Omar Diggs. What's good?
This is Underdawg Sportz. Welcome to the show, everybody. We got a lot of basketball to talk about today, including the NBA trying to make its way back. For that, we'll go to Justin. What you got?
Man, so the players all of a sudden not all of a sudden, let me not say that. The players and the NBA PA and the owners had a call on Wednesday to see if they wanted to resume the season or just wrap it. The players adamantly wanted to resume the season. Of course, that was spearheaded by Mr. LeBron James, Steph Curry, who hasn't played really much of that this season due to injuries, Kevin Durant, who hasn't played the season at all. They basically want to resume the season and get this to who's going to be the final. On the low, I did see an interview with CP3. A lot of guys, because of what happened in February, well, late January, early February with Kobe Bryant, have dedicated this season in particular to Kobe. And that's why they want to finish the job. I know without a shadow of a doubt that's the reason for LeBron. That's a lot of other players, Russ, Harden, a lot of these guys had a relationship with Kobe. So I know that's one factor. But, hey, look, no one wants to have an asterisk next to the season saying it's stopped because of COVID. They want to continue on. So, hey, looks like the owners are going to go. Looks like it's going to go forward. We just got to figure out how they're going to go forward.
Omar?
All right, so in regards to that, I feel, hold on, give me 1 second. So in regards to that, wanting to start back, all right, cool, I'm all for it. However, the only issue that I have is, it still goes back to how they're, how they're going to do it. Talking about, I miss my families and different things of that nature. Well, I feel if they're really going to do this and they're going to decide to do 2 arenas, then they may want to take a look at or adopt what Tyler Perry has done for his studio and apply that for the league. So if that way, it's like whichever 2 arenas has an area that can house families without, in and out as less as possible, in addition to having medical staff and, checking for temperatures and different things like that, I think that would be the only way to go. If that's not the way that they're going to do it, then it's just best to just isolate to just teams, like house just the teams, and then just have to go without their family for a little bit, like Justin said last week, where for those that went to college, they had to do NCAA tournaments. That was no different. And for those that didn't go to college, there was times where those kids went away for like AAU or they went away for the summer to spend time with other family members. So they just gonna have to adapt to that. But in regards to the family issue, I just feel like it's a fine line, and when we're going to the asterisks of everything, it's just like regardless of who wins the MVP, the ring, this or that, it's gonna all have an asterisk around it. So I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss with this. So I kind of want to be like, just call it, but then it's like it's either call it or just play and be done with it. Like stop with this whole procrastination because then it's getting closer to next season. Then next season's gonna get pushed back. With what Justin said, the league was trying to get the game 1 to be in on Christmas anyway. Not too sure I like that idea, but that's another day, another topic. So that's why I feel like if they're going to do that, they should adopt that Tyler Perry method. That would be the closest thing to working versus what the players feel they should do with the families.
Yeah, but it's a lot of uptaking. Like you saying this should not be a big deal because of what they did when they're in college. These are not college athletes anymore, though. These are NBA players that's used to being able to be around their families as much as possible. That's why they move them to the cities that they play for, so they can spend time with their families when they're at home. Some of them take them around traveling. Now you're basically telling them your family's not going to be important. This is your job, and you got to do your job, so you got to stay away from them in order.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's not. That's what I'm saying at all. It's like, so for a player with let's say, a big family versus a single, like a person that probably would bring, if it's not his girlfriend, then it might be his mom or his pops or one of his homies or his entourage or something. Like, if you're getting to the point where certain people, well, everyone that's considered family or family is included, then that gets a bit sticky. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go without your family, but I mean, at some point, it's like you talk about, oh, well, we all about the fans and we about the fans this and league and I love the game and this and that, da da da. But at the same time, as much as I love the game, I don't want to leave my family. Yeah, I know, there's a pandemic, but hey, I still want them there. So it's kind of like they're saying that their family's health isn't as important as them being there.
I think one thing we are missing is the fact is regardless of how the NBA structures it, the players are the ones that want it. So if the players are really overly concerned about their families, for example, I like when you brought up the point, in this case, Casey, when you use a family that has, Omar, if you have a guy that's a single, let's use James Harden. James Harden has no kids and no girlfriend to what we know, versus if you use LeBron or Steph Curry, who has multiple kids, wife, in-laws that live with them, so on and so forth, where regardless of the matter, I think they both recognize, whether you're the single new guy or the old head family man, know that. I think they're just like, hey, look, we understand we may have to leave our families for X, Y, Z amount of times. It's no different from when a guy enlists in the military. They know they got to leave their families for X amount of time, although the results are definitely different. I mean, championship versus war is always different. But the fact of the matter is if they want it, they're going to do it. These guys all unanimously, no one voted differently or had another opinion about not doing it. So, like it or not, they're going to figure they're putting it in the NBA's hands, or they're putting it in the NBA owners versus and the NBA PL to figure out a way to benefit everybody, because these guys want to play. So I think that's the one thing we got to keep in mind. If they were against it because of COVID, because it's away from their families, these guys would have not signed off on it. But when you have the top stars saying, yo, let's go, everybody else needs to fall in line. I mean, I'm just saying they got to go with it.
I guess the stars have spoken, I suppose.
Well, let me ask this question. So is that, I mean, because I could be completely wrong, because, well, remember when the contracts for the NFL and, the ones that were making this amount didn't want to, and those that didn't make that amount wanted to, is this kind of equivalent to a certain degree in terms of play and no play? Not in terms of money and contract, but just in terms of play or no play.
No, because everybody wants to play. That's the problem.
Okay.
The 12th man on the bench want to get paid because, remember, some of these players are taking pay cuts come next season. No one said anything otherwise. Like the 25% pay cut that Steph, Braun, funny enough, Harden and Russ aren't affected, but some of these guys, they're okay with it. CP3 is one of them. They're like, okay, cool, I just want to play. And you're talking about some guys that are on the bottom field. The NFL one is the lower tier guys, your 53rd man on the roster, 52nd man on the roster. They want to play because they want to get this bonus money. They want to get the bonus. It's your stars that's like, nah, I'm cool. Your Aaron Rodgers, your Russ Wilson. It's kind of a different dynamic because it's not unanimous. It was confusion amongst the players. This one, everybody's on board. Like, yo, I'm tired of sitting at home. I want to finish the season. I'm talking about even the bottom tier teams. You're talking about your Sacramento's and your New York Knicks. They down. I mean, knowing they're not going to the playoffs. This season could be in 2 weeks, but they still want to play.
Game over.
Yeah, for real. This is like, all right, we still want to play, though. Let's go.
Hey, we only got 20 games left. Hey, why not? Let's ball out.
Get the check. That's what it comes down to. Hey, I'm going to get paid, too. Let's cut that check.
All right. Let me go and get ready for this. Oh, wait. Ain't no summer. Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
Maybe.
Get the check. Indeed, they will. In other news, the NBA rankings from the top 74 players of all time. Omar, what'd you think about the list?
Man, no. Y'all about to be, wait a minute. Breaking news. Bro, it's interesting. It is very interesting. I'll say that as a whole. That's a lot of people that they rank. Okay, cool. I'm going to jump right into this one.
Mm-hmm.
Pippen, KG.
Mm-hmm.
I have others like Dame and his placement. I have a bunch of other things anyway. Uh, and this hurts. Pip, you my guy, but I feel because I didn't when I saw Pippen and then I went down. I honestly feel, with the exception of the top 10, with a exception of like maybe one player, they actually got the placement of I'll say Pippen and put KG in front of him. Now I'll give you the only difference. No, not the only difference. It's a major difference between Pippen and KG that I was like, yo, okay. So then I started to look into it even further, and I'm like, I knew KG was a bad boy, but hey, hey, all the accolades, the awards, hey, a lot of these they got right. Some of them they got wrong.
The one you were saying via Skype was Mutombo. You said Mutombo should have been ahead of Dame Lillard.
Oh. Well, no. Yeah, let me. Okay. Oh, okay. Wait.
You got to preface this one, brother. I want to.
Yeah, no. You know what? Completely. I'm 100% wrong on that one. So I didn't go into look into it, but like I said, when I started to see, so I was like, I'm already knowing. I'm Jordan number one. We good. Where's Pippen at? Because I'm a Bulls. I'm an advocate. So then I started to look at Pippen. I was like, okay, well let's see what KG got. Then I was like, well, wait a minute. I saw Dame and what he was. So then I started to like break down and look at who and what. I didn't bother to look at Mutombo. I was basing it off of, when you that little kid, who was the big names that you knew of. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, automatically, no, Mutombo had the commercials. Dame got commercials too. But, what I'm saying? I was on that whole thing. But going back and looking at it, yeah, nah. I don't know how he made that list. Let's just be honest. But,
Well, he made the list because of defensive player trophies. The problem is with Mutombo, he was in the era he came in, he's not even top 5.
Yeah.
As far as centers is concerned. That's why I was like, you really want to go there with Mutombo? And don't get me wrong, I love Dikembe Mutombo. He's probably one of the greatest defensive players in NBA history. He's definitely top 10. He's definitely top 10. He's not number 1. I'm still going to give that the Dream as all-time greatest defensive player. Then Mike, really depending on your position. But if I'm going to go with big man, I'm definitely going to go Dream number 1. I got Ben Wallace slightly over Mutombo, too. That's another subject. But the list was okay to me. I didn't have any gripes with the list. Some of the newer players are on this list. I did think Allen Iverson at 29th was kind of low. He did not have a ring. Yeah, I get that. But again, he was in 2 bad eras. He came in the Jordan era, and then he basically was in the dominant era when you had Shaq and Kobe. And if it wasn't Shaq and Kobe and the Lakers winning, it was San Antonio. He couldn't. He was one man on that Sixers team, which was elite. Which was not, you rephrase that, was not elite if you didn't have AI. Versus, I mean, come on, the most dominant center at that time, maybe one of the most dominant centers in NBA history. In fact, he is Kobe. Enough said. And then you got the silent assassin, Tim Duncan, and one of the greatest. In fact, I'm going to say it. You may not like it. The greatest coach in NBA history, Pop, not Phil.
Oh, yeah.
Pop.
No. Pop got that hands down. Hey, everyone, when you come to the Spurs, you buying into that system because it works year after year. Sometimes the results are different, but then you could work with Pops with a small, like a no-name team, and it still works. When they removed all the stars and brought Teague, I mean, Teague is, he's a good guy, but what I'm saying, he's not like that marquee type player. So to bring him in and they still was winning, come on.
Pop is Belichick.
Nah, Belichick cheated. Pop ain't never cheated. Only thing you can give Pop, the only thing you give Pop a gripe for is the first year when he took Bob Hill's job, he told David Robinson to sit out the rest of the season so they could tank it to get Tim Duncan or a high grade player. That's the only thing you can knock Pop on. Other than that, nah, you can't never knock Pop. I respect him wholeheartedly. Phil ended up inheriting the greatest player of all time. Then he went to the next team, which had the second greatest player of all time, and possibly you could argue that between Shaq and Kobe, if Shaq hits his free throws, he may have been the most dominant player of all time, at least at center position. And then later down the line, Phil came back and still had Kobe in his prime. So I always have an asterisk next to Phil, like, yo, you did have like the talent. But the list was cool to me. I'm glad they didn't try to put some youngsters on there, guys that's like in their second year. I was surprised that they had some. I'll be honest with you. Harden at 32 was kind of a surprise to me. I get it because of the MVP trophy, but I thought Harden 32 and then right behind him was Isaiah Thomas and then Steve Nash at 30. I had a beef with that one. Isaiah Thomas should be way higher than Steve Nash. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Way higher than that. I'm not knocking Steve Nash because it went Iverson, Nash, Isaiah Thomas, Harden. No. Sorry. Iverson should have been higher. Isaiah should have been higher than that. Go ahead. No, I'm good. Go ahead.
So some of the issues that I had with the list was Dame behind Bob Lanier, Alex English versus Pete Maravich. I had a problem with that. Parker and Bernard also had a problem with that one because it was just like when you break it down and you look at their stats and accomplishments and something like that. Like there's no way that Bob Lanier should be ahead of Dame Lillard. Like so, if anything, I'd switch those two. Now, in regards to Pete Maravich and Alex English, I'm just not understanding how Alex is 67 and Pete is 68 based on stats and accolades. Those are like, and then the Tony Parker one, that's I really don't have too much to say about that one, but those two, Bob and Alex, I had issues with those.
Perez, what about you?
My big deal is I want Hakeem inside the top 10.
Yes, thank you. I was just about to say that. Hakeem at 12 was kind of like, what the hell?
My big deal was the dream is on the outside looking in, and that was not the experience that he had when he played basketball.
Like, here's my question. Overall body, wait, another one is Giannis. I mean, don't get me wrong, Giannis is great, but his career is still too young to be in the top 20.
He ain't did nothing yet. I mean, he won the MVP, but that's it.
Yeah, you won MVP. Like, if I have a gripe with Harden being at 32, I damn sure have a gripe with Giannis being in the top 20 or top 25. I'm like, dude's only been in the league for 5 years. But he has an MVP trophy. But so does Russ, so does Harden, Derrick Rose. There's a lot of guys that have trophies but don't have championships next to it. And I think once you get into that top 25 mold, for the exception of maybe like someone like Charles Barkley or Patrick Ewing, because that's the Jordan era people, and Karl Malone definitely, your body of work speaks for itself. I mean, anybody that's been in the league for at least 20, or anybody that's been in the top 25, I said at least should have been in the league 10 years or more. So let me ask you this. Go for it.
All right, so let me ask you this. Of the top 10, who would you remove to put Olajuwon in there?
I was looking at that.
You know what I'm saying? Hey,
it's not something that I take lightly, but
it's hard. It's really hard.
At all.
It's
that
really
top 10
hard.
is solid, man. Like,
Because people keep saying, well, I would have took Bill Russell. How you going to take a man that got 11 rings?
No.
Hey, Bill Russell should be ahead of LeBron James, in my opinion, but that's just me.
I don't have an argument with that. It's hard to take. Then I seen people saying, well, look what Olajuwon did to Shaq. I was like, yeah, but that's a young Shaq. That's Shaq in his third or fourth year in the league versus what he did as a Laker and destroyed everybody. I mean, the man ain't win 3 finals MVPs for nothing and was robbed of a regular MVP because they wanted to keep the great white hype of Steve Nash. But looking at this list, my God, I can't. No, you're gonna think I'm crazy? No, Wilt.
Nah.
The reason, here's the problem. Wilt only has, for everything he done, the 100-point game, averaging 30 points and 22 rebounds, he has 1 ring. 1. And he teamed up with Kareem to get it. He has 1 ring after all those accolades. And he had to team up with another GOAT to get it. That's the only reason I'm like, hold up. I hate to do this, but I'm going to take Wilt out for Dream. If there's, let's be honest.
I'm going Timmy. I'm not
it's
taking
hard.
I'm going Timmy.
God, it's hard to take Timmy out, bro.
Listen, out of the top 10, the one I would take out would be, I mean, it's not like I'm moving him to 20. I'm moving him to 12, and I think Dream deserves that spot a little bit, and I understand that he's got more titles. I get it. But Dream was a better ball player.
I don't know about that, removing that Wilt with Kareem. And the reason why I say that is because, like, dude, Wilt, he's stellar. 2-time NBA champion, MVP, Finals MVP, 4-time Most Valuable Player, 3-time All-Star, All-Star MVP, 7-time First Team, 3-time Second Team, 2nd-time Defensive Team, Rookie of the Year, 7-time scoring champion, 11-time rebound champ, assist leader. Like, nigga, you're 100. I mean, you're like a center and you're assist leader. I don't know.
Of course, he did it in an era where he was the only brother too. But
hey, if that's the case, so did Bill Russell. But we're not gonna. No. So I don't know if I would put Olajuwon in place of Wilt.
So let me ask you this,
Timmy.
I did see one person say, "Do you take off Larry Bird?"
I thought about that.
I would take off Larry Bird before I would Wilt.
Yeah, I thought about Larry Bird. Hard. I just went Timmy because it's an easy matchup for me. Like, I would take Olajuwon over Tim Duncan any day of the week.
I have no knock against this. So this one was a great one. I have no knock against it. Whoever you take to move in for Olajuwon, for the exception, of course, Jordan and Russell. I'm sorry, those two got to be in the top. And Magic.
What?
What? Those got to be in the top 10. So you don't take those out the top 10.
I'm sorry. Who you said you cannot take out the top 10? You said Jordan?
I said you can't take Jordan. You can't take Magic. Those guys you can't take out. You don't touch those guys.
Yeah, no. That's all. No. Yeah. I agree. 100%. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this question. Do you think LeBron's ranking is too high at number 2?
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
I hate to say this, but I don't know how the hell they got Magic at 5.
Right, I thought he was top 3.
Yeah, I agree too. I don't want to take away from Kareem's body of work, but the Laker day, all Kareem's rings is because of Magic. Let's just be honest. Remember, Magic's rookie year, Kareem went hurt and went down, and Magic dominated. Remember, that was the infamous skyhook at the buzzer. That was because, Magic took Kareem's move and used it to save the game. That's why I'm like, it's hard for me to sit there and say that it's that Braun's 2. And Braun, and just the ring factor alone, Braun does have 3 rings, granted. But, and I know Reggie's gonna go there with this one, but Braun, and I'll say it for you. Braun had to get a super team. These guys were organic super teams. Magic made Kareem better in his twilight years. He made James Worthy a household name. Bill Russell himself, we just do that. He took a bunch of white guys and made them get 11 rings. That's it. Because ain't none of these white guys winning shit without Bill Russell. That's why I'm like, I just still understand how they got Braun at 2.
What's funny?
I'd even slide Kobe at 2. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't like Kobe. What was he, 9?
Yeah, Kobe was 9 and Shaq was 10.
9?
Yeah. Like, for me, if you Kobe, you had a LeBron. Wherever you place LeBron, not in this particular case, but by moving LeBron down, Kobe is ahead of LeBron. I'm sorry.
I agree.
Like, in placement. And then in regards to, like, other people you can't touch, to add to that is Lou Alcindor, a.k.a. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The boy's resume is stellar, bro. Like, he another one you like, he can't move from the top 10, in my opinion.
Oh, I totally agree with you with that one. I just don't. It's hard for me to see LeBron beating some of these guys. Even Shaq. People just realize Shaq was the most dominant force for a good 8 years. The only reason what destroyed Shaq was Shaq himself when he got fat and lazy. But other than that, if Shaq would have stayed in shape, That's it. He got bored. He started to want to make more rap albums and do more terrible movies, and start basically looking at his career now. He's still making way more money than some NBA players with endorsement. Back then. That's what I'm saying. There's no way in hell that Braun is 2. I mean, that's like the millennial vote to me. It's like, all right, how many guys that were born after 90, or were born 88 and down are cool with this? Because anybody that's been our age or older know damn well Braun should not be top 5, yes. Top 2, no.
I'm just saying that, like, wherever the hell LeBron is, Kobe Bryant needs to be right there. And for Kobe to be 9 and LeBron to be 2 is just...
Hey, I'm going to take a step and be like, I don't even think LeBron is top 5. According to this top 10 list right here, LeBron should not be above 5. Between 10 and 6, he should be somewhere in that area, in my personal opinion.
Okay. I'm not knocking you on that one. I mean, I can understand why you would say that. The LeBron issue is always going to be different because he can go anywhere within the top 10, just depending on the person you talk to. Again, like you were saying before, if it's somebody that was a younger, someone that's in their 20s still to this day, who grew up as LeBron, who didn't see Jordan in their prime and just seen LeBron, they're going to say LeBron. Hell, some of them are going to say LeBron's the GOAT. The sad thing is this list could change easy.
Oh, yeah.
In about 3-4 years. If LeBron wins today, if he wins the championship this year and next year as a Laker, they're going to put him now 1A, 1B with Jordan as the GOAT title. I'm just being realistic with you. If LeBron, and he don't need 6, he needs 5. Let's just be real. A lot of people are going to put him in that list because a lot of people want to put him in that list now. But you can't. There's no way in hell.
I honestly feel that in addition to this is just my opinion, but I feel that a lot of LeBron's rankings, and again, it factors in like ability. You know what I'm saying? Like, like when you look at that one coach the one guy that was talking, LeBron, he's the best player. Da, da, da. It's like ability that plays a part in that. Because if he was if let's say Kobe never had that Denver situation, he would be higher. But because of that situation, I feel like, and then he was also snubbed from an MVP one. Wait, no, never mind. So yeah,
no, he was.
So I just feel there's likability for that.
The 81-point year, he was snubbed for MVP. You were right.
Yeah, didn't Steve Nash get that one?
The year before that was Shaq's trophy. The year Kobe went for 81 when Shaq first went to Miami, they gave it to Tim Duncan, and it should have been Kobe because Kobe was doing everything for that Lakers team. But I think they only were like a 7th or 8th seed. But I mean, you trade the bulk of the team and get a bunch of new players, including Shaq. Trade Shaq. I mean, you wasn't going to win. But hey, again, this is funny. This list, but just really on who I want to see. I didn't look to see who all the writers were, but once you start seeing the writers and the people on it, this is where you really can decide who for who and what from what.
So I did want to say, Justin, I disagree with you on one thing. LeBron does need 6 because he's got 6 losses. So
I think he needs.
Yeah,
he's got to hit 6.
You know what? I think even if LeBron went 7, he still would not be. It would, like he did. One more than Jordan, and whatever. So what? But and then boom with the list. So I don't even think at this point there's no catching MJ's ghost.
Now here's the problem. We are going to say that because we grew up in the Jordan era. But someone younger.
We also grew up. I see.
If he gets 7, it's over.
Yeah.
Jordan is no longer the GOAT because you got to have a lot of these younger writers.
Die. That's why.
Right. I disagree. Well, no. In that sense of but in that sense of if you don't remember if you don't know your past, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? You don't know the future. I get that, but what I'm saying is it's just I'm just not seeing MJ is the blueprint to all things, period, in terms of NBA. You'll never hear someone say, he's like the LeBron James. Let me see. Let's say, I don't even know, a wide receiver or a quarterback. He's the LeBron. No one ever going to say he's the LeBron James of this. Or no one's ever going to say he's the Wilt Chamberlain of that. It's MJ or nothing. That is
Well, they are saying
hype.
LeBron James. They can keep comparing Giannis to LeBron. They keep saying Giannis is a young man, as a younger, longer LeBron. I mean, again, here's the thing. Let's even go back further before our generation. Bill Russell has 11 rings, but because we didn't grow up in that generation, we don't know shit about it. The old heads, it's like our grandparents' age. They gonna talk shit saying, "Hey man, that man Russell got 11. Stats alone, he still got 11 versus 6." And you know, it just really depends on the era. I just see this generation now sliding that LeBron GOAT title on
if
further
he gets
past
those,
Jordan.
if he gets those rings.
I think it has to do with the era as well as the student. Like if someone said, "Oh, I grew up, I studied the game," but then his history doesn't start but until LeBron. Like you didn't study the game if you don't know who Oscar the Big O or Rob Lanier or Alex English or Wilt Chamberlain. Well, everyone should know who Wilt Chamberlain is. You know, just all these different players. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it kind of, you know, I don't see it. Because MJ is the blueprint for me. Even if I wasn't a Bulls fan, MJ is the blueprint.
MJ is the blueprint, but the truth is, if LeBron gets to 6, I mean, the conversation's legit now.
No, if he gets to 6, the only thing that they should be saying is him being better than Kobe, and even then, that's a stretch. But in terms of MJ's gone. You can't reach that.
Here's the problem. Kobe's always going to have an asterisk next to him because of Shaq. Remember, the first 3 rings, Kobe was never the MVP. Kobe was never the Finals MVP. It was all Shaq. So every time I hear a person have a Kobe argument, they always throw in Shaq. So that's
but with a LeBron argument, you got to throw in D Wade and Bosh.
But the problem is D Wade and Bosh took a backseat to LeBron. Shaq.
But here's the thing, though.
To Kobe.
But the thing is that D Wade was already a champion. That's a proved champ. So, but then there's an asterisk with him and Shaq. I don't know.
And who was he with?
That's what I said. It can just go boom, boom. Okay, but what about that? With this and that and that? You know what I'm saying? So I get it. But they had champions. They both played with champions in order to win. Let's just, MJ didn't play with none.
This is why I don't like Shaq at 10. Because, I mean, I get Shaq and Kobe at 9 and 10, but they should be higher. Because the fact of the matter is Shaq dominated. The 2000s was dominated by Shaq. The late 90s, early 2000s, when the era of the big man, Shaq kept the era of the big man alive once Ewing, Elijah Warren, Robinson, all those dudes got old. But the problem is like they don't give Shaq his credit.
Nope.
My man went to the finals with 3 different teams and won 4 championships. He went to the finals 7 times. He went 4 out of 7. He couldn't beat Elijah Warren. I mean, he was too young. Elijah Warren was too skilled and too old, and he was in his prime. Shaq wasn't there yet. He's still developing. That's why when I see Shaq at 10, I'm like, wait, time out, hold up. As much as I like Wilt, in Wilt's era, Shaq is dominant. Shaq will destroy that era. But we can't go era after era. That's why it's hard for me to go ahead, and even when they gave Kobe above Shaq, I was like, okay, because he got 1 more ring than Shaq, that's it. But domination-wise, and maybe I'm like you, Omar. I'm a Shaq fan as much as you are a Jordan fan. It's hard for me to say, yo, he's 10. When I seen the list, I was like, wait, time out, 10? Want to keep it real, and y'all probably think I'm crazy. I have Shaq over LeBron. Why? Because LeBron was never that dominant. Not like that. LeBron was feared, but no one feared. Shaq was more feared by any player in the league not wearing the number 23 for years. Shaq in your household, you know who it was. And that's why I was like, LeBron at 2 is hard for me to say. I like LeBron. But 2, that's hard.
Yes.
My biggest argument against LeBron, and I mean, I'm glad he decided to do it later in his career when the West got a little more competitive. But he stayed.
But he still couldn't do it by himself.
He stayed in the East, and he just dominated that lowly conference for
it's still
9 years. Like he just dominated a woeful conference for 9 years. Without having any real legit, like he had Chicago for maybe a year before Derrick Rose got hurt, but other than that, it was always who was LeBron going to face in the finals because he took the easy road and stayed in the East.
Can I say one thing? I got an asterisk with LeBron for one finals he didn't get to. Remember the year Nike was hyping up LeBron versus Kobe, and LeBron choked and ended up being Orlando in the finals, and that was a waste. They ended up getting swept. I always have a problem with that finals just because LeBron could have dominated that Eastern Conference Finals against Orlando because Orlando was not that good. They had Rashard Lewis, and, of course, they had Dwight, but that was it. And LeBron did not come through in the clutch. And that was the reason. That ended up being the start of the Heatles in that era. But I always had a problem with that one. Like, dude, you knew Kobe was coming. He was coming through on the West. You didn't do your job in the East, and you choked. It wasn't your team. It was you against an Orlando team that wasn't that great. They kind of skated too. But that's why I was like, no, LeBron can't be top. No, I'm sorry. Top two, no.
No. Not at all.
It is unanimous on Underdawg Sportz that LeBron James is not the second greatest player of all time. One of these days we will get a younger perspective in here to argue with us, but I ain't taking that bait today. I can try again. It ain't happening.
You sure you don't want to be the millennial of the week?
Nope.
Right. No.
Not gonna happen.
Come on, man. You got it in you. Give it a try. Give it the old college try.
So for everything Michael Jordan has done as a player, he may be arguably the worst owner to ever own a basketball team in the NBA. This is your guy, Omar. So I'm gonna come back to you on this one. I won't. Yeah. Why is he such a bad owner?
You talking to me or you talking to Dustin? Because you said you're gonna come back.
Omar.
Okay. So one, it doesn't equate. Like because you're a good player doesn't mean that you're gonna be a good owner. Let's start there because there's people under you. Like you'll have the final veto, but let's just be honest. When he was talking about Kwame Brown was the next thing, you should have known right there. He ain't it for a scout. He's not good for talent. I'm pretty sure he looks at talent, but I just feel that as of right now, they need to shake that whole thing up. It's time for a lot of people to go in terms of those positions. And I feel like some people they should start looking into would be like Avery Johnson, Mark Jackson, Tom, maybe even Mike D'Antoni. I mean, they got to do something and give them like that situation and like find other organizations and adopt it. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe like Larry Bird was a good coach. I mean, he might not can be a coach now, but in terms of an eye or scout for this but you know what I'm saying? But like people like that, like look to your contemporaries who have been successful. Like maybe try to do something so at one point when their contract is over, maybe you can get a Jerry West to come in and do something for you. Maybe you can get this type of executive or get a better scouting team. Like you got to do something. Like we get it to Michael Jordan. But that's it. Like that. Like your stats, your accolades, who you are, does not translate, and it was never supposed to. Just because you're a winner on the court doesn't mean you're going to be a winner in the boardroom. So it's like at that point now so basically, this is his baseball career all over again. So now he just instead of having to do it by himself, he needs to put people in place. As long as he keeps the people that he got, and you've seen past that is not working. You did trade Kemba Walker. The face of the team is now on. Well, no, I take that back because MJ was still the face of the team when he was an owner. When he's an owner, he's the face of the team. And he's still getting blamed like, yo, your team sucks, like as if he's still playing.
Well,
no, he's just an owner. No, yeah. What I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. Like he's just like he's the face and he's always going to be the face. But when you trade,
he should be better at this than he's been. Like,
why though? Because look, nothing about his past, nothing about people that he drafted say that it should. I give you that. But nothing about him saying. I mean, like I can't go back on what he said about Kwame Brown. That should have said it's going to be bad for him as a league owner.
He was just a GM. No. He wasn't the owner of the Wizards when he did it. He was the executive for Kwame Brown.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the fact that you the greatest player of all time stamps Kwame Brown as this type of a player, and it does not translate. That should have said, "Yeah, this ain't. You got to learn. This ain't what you want, boss.
Why is he not putting smarter people around him than what he's done?
Well,
Hey, man, you got to ask that man that. You know what I'm saying?
Can I be honest?
This has been a long time of bad basketball for a city, for an organization, for an owner. That's a long time of losing.
Yeah, but
can I say this real quick? The one factor that Jordan is that he was not during his basketball career is Jordan's cheap.
Yes.
Jordan does not like to pay his players, nor his
And I was
coaches.
just going to talk about that. Go for it.
Steve Clifford, who's their coach now, was an assistant coach. The coach before him was an assistant coach. He doesn't get big time names. He could have reached out a couple years ago and grabbed Phil as a GM, although it was a disaster in New York.
No.
He could have experimented with that. Jordan is cheap, and then the thing is you're right. Jordan's expectation. I think Jordan has high expectations on players that are not developed yet. When we go back to Washington with Kwame Brown, people fail to realize Kwame Brown was a kid straight out of high school, and that draft had 7 kids in the top 10 come straight out of high school, none of which have developed. In fact, the only one that actually ended up having a solid NBA career is Tyson Chandler. Kwame, Eddie Curry, all them guys. I mean, the only kid that came out of college in the top 10 was Shane Battier. And I mean, that's not saying a lot. Shane Battier was a great role player, but you would never say Shane Battier was a star. But Jordan, he don't pick well. Like, even now, I honestly think the NBA has a conspiracy against the Hornets just for whatever reason. Because they never even get a chance to be – they'll tank a season like they did last year. They should have had the top 3 pick, whether it was Zion, Barrett, or whomever else was in there the last 2 years. They get like the 10th or the 12th pick. I don't know how you tank a season and you're still getting 10 and 12. By that point, you're getting a guy that could be a star, but it probably is not. Or it'll take a couple of years. But Jordan's cheap. Name me a big free agent that came to Charlotte.
Right.
I definitely agree. I
was just going to say
that. He's always been known as being cheap. But at some point, when do the fans turn on him and say, dude, like, we want to win?
I think it's going to come soon, and the only reason why is because right now the fans are grateful that the Jordan bought the rights back to the name the Hornets. Mind you, he bought it off of Bob Johnson. The Bobcats sucked too. And then they had maybe about 1 or 2 years they were in the playoffs and people were okay with that. But here's the other factor. People in the NBA season were not as mad at the Hornets is because they were concentrating all their power on the NFL team. The Panthers, who were winning at the point and had the hot new star Cam Newton, this and third, they weren't. They're like, well, fuck it, we got football, we good. It's kind of like here in Texas. If the Texans suck, it's cool. The Rockets is doing good. You know what I mean? So we'll just concentrate on watching basketball. We're still gonna be Texan fans, we're root, but we ain't gonna get on them as long as our basketball. But we can't have, and the Astros for that matter, we can't have 2 bad teams. So now all of a sudden it's coming to light. I think the fans in Charlotte and fans in general be like, all right, Mike, look, the people are right. Him being mad at Charles Barkley is pointless. Charles Barkley is not saying anything that's a lie. It's just Michael got soft feelings. The Hornets suck. You didn't want to pay your star player, Kemba Walker, $20 million a year, where most of the point guards are getting like 25. So he left. Your thing is I'll make you on Jordan Brand. Okay, well, I mean, Jordan Brand's only getting you what, like $250,000 to be on it. You see, Dwayne Wade left. It's not saying a lot. Mike is just. I think his logic is off.
Yeah, I mean, but then at the same time, in regards to 2 parts. I'll come back. I'll go to the Kemba Walker part first. Well, it's not like Kemba was actually. I mean, he was a bigger star, yes, but it's not like he was like I don't want to say showing his worth, but compared to the people on the team, yes, he was showing that worth. But when you compare to what's out there and the amount that he was asking for, it's kind of like I don't know. But again, goes back to MJ being cheap. The other part of the fans, when they're going to be like, I think they're kind of at 50-50 at this point. Because, and it's only going to get worse because now the Panthers are going to be, I don't know yet.
Right.
They're going to be that.
They're going to be
and so you're going to have 2 bad teams in the city. You know what I'm saying? So one, the upside is, well, hey, let's go to this football game. The tickets are cheap. Let's go to the basketball game. The tickets are cheap. The city is still, whether, it's still bringing in money. You probably ain't going to have any sellout seats. Oh, but wait a minute. LeBron or this person, like that arena is a whole, it's like a playing field. I want to go see LeBron. So as long as there's big names, there's always going to be sold tickets.
So they become the New York Knicks. Because that's what people are going to Knicks games for, to see their opponent win.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't even know.
It's embarrassing.
I don't even know if they the Knicks. They might be a little bit below that.
Yeah,
At least the Knicks at some point had something where they was like, we got something to root for. Charlotte, they did with Alonzo and LJ and all that.
That's been 20 years.
That's about it.
Since the Knicks
that's what I'm saying.
To root for.
No. When Melo was there, no. When Melo was there, they was all for the Knicks. Yeah, baby, we just won. Yeah, no. When Melo was there, they was all for it. When he left, no. And then when Porzingis came, they was like, all right. And it was like, no.
Let's be honest. Neither team can recruit players to come play for them. I mean, that's the problem. Jordan can have 50 million people on Jordan brand, but no one wants to go to the Hornets. Chris Paul is on Jordan brand and from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, right out of Charlotte. He won't go back to the Hornets to save his life. Russ, when he's a free agent, he ain't going to Charlotte. Steph Curry is from Charlotte, and he damn sure won't play for his hometown. No one. You know what? It's because of Jordan factor. I just don't think no one want to play for him.
Not necessarily that they don't want to play for him, but think about it. If Chris Paul, when he was there, played left, they looking for him to come. They're rallying for him. He go in and see the same faces. I don't know this to be true, but let's just say he go in and see the same faces that he saw when he was there, years ago.
But he wasn't in Charlotte. He was in New Orleans. They were New Orleans Hornets by that point.
So it's just like you would just go in there. It's like, I've been here. I don't want to go. It's almost, or it could be looked at as, I don't want to go back home. I've been there, lived there. I'm cool. I'll never go back. It could have something to do with racial tension. Like, it could have a lot to do with it. So it might not necessarily say that it might not be the MJ factor outside of the check. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and plus other teams are willing to play for, this is about to sound bad, but what year was that? I think a couple years back where they was giving players crazy contracts that wasn't even worth it. So if you sitting here like, yo, I'm about to be a free agent and I can go out here and get way more money, yo, I'm out.
You sure right You sure right about that. Ryan Anderson was making $20 million a year for the Houston Rockets.
Bro, it was so bad. Like, they were just saying contract after contract. I was like, it was one point they gave somebody something. I said, wait a minute. I seen this. They were showing highlights of the game. I said, I remember seeing that game, but I don't even remember him at all. Like, man, they was giving $155 million for 4-5 years to this type of person and $60 million for 2 years of that one. Well, I was like, man, let's go to the D-League right now, see if I can get some, because these cats is bums.
Mike did one with Nicholas Van Toon. I was looking it up. I couldn't think of his name, the French dude that played for Portland. And, he was cool. He was a good fourth string. He was a good fourth option. He got 5 years. He's still on contract. 5 years, 155. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, is this dude going to turn into, the next LeBron? And he obviously hasn't. But the problem is Mike don't pay. Like, can we say this?
Well, he paid that dude.
And matter of fact, he been paying for it ever since. Look, that contract is the reason why Kimba's out. That's why he can't bring certain people in. Like, it might not even be that he's cheap. We tied to 150. Don't nobody want to take that $155 million contract, and this dude is doing whatever it is that he's doing. I'm not even gonna look his numbers up. But like, as that was being a result, nah, he's trying to lighten that low. If he could have, he would have gotten rid of that contract, kept Kimba, and could have possibly bought some other people with some. But give me some draft picks, give me this place, something. Just take this, kind of like what the Bulls did with D-Rose. So will somebody come take this medical case, please? Because we can't do nothing with this guy. And they was able to get rid of that $110 million contract to New York. I don't even remember where it went, but I was so happy, man. I was like, yes, we finally got rid of it. Then this fool started getting rid of Butler. Wait. No, I ain't ready for this.
Oh, here we go. Down the rabbit hole we go.
You know we was going to end up here at some point. You knew we was going to end up here somehow, but, that's just me, though.
For the Bentoon season this year, he's getting paid $26 million. He's averaging 3.6 points a game. Last year, he averaged 9.3, $22 million a year. He's averaging 9 points and 3 points the last 2 seasons.
I can average 3 points a game.
Bro, I was just going to say, hey, man, we need to all go to the D-League right now and work our way up.
I can get 3 points a game. Like, leave me open for a couple corner threes. I'll make one.
Hey, the player Mike might want to look towards the big three to get some players because he needs something from somewhere.
I agree.
Like, hey, y'all want a contract? Y'all want to what? However many games left? Y'all want that? Reggie Jackson? Wait, is it Reggie Jackson? The dude to do the podcast? Matt Barnes?
Yeah,
hey, y'all both come on. I'm bringing y'all in as vets. Y'all gonna, do the atmosphere of the locker room. We're gonna bring some more. Let's win some ball games.
And just to give you a heads up, Batum's contract, and the only reason is because this is how trash Michael Jordan is as an owner. His last 4 years, $12 million, $20 million, $22 million, $24 million. Next season he'll get 24.5, and that'll be the
for 3 points.
Contract.
For 3 points again, you tell me somebody that's gonna take that contract.
I take that back. 27. This year he's owed 25. Next year will be 27.
For 3 points.
For 5 years, $120 million.
He scores 3 points more than me.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. He scores 3 points more than me a game, and I'm not a ball
I feel if he get the right coach in the position, like to do I don't know why, I just like the way that they do. What is that boy's name? Doc Rivers in L.A. If he can get the right coach and do that, like I feel Mark Jackson will be perfect.
Yeah, but they got to pay the coach. Remember, Doc to leave Boston, they had to pay him stupid amount of money. Pay out.
But they wouldn't have to pay Mark Jackson like that, though.
No, I'm saying, yeah, that's true. They don't because Mark is out there. They just got to do something. I don't get why Mike is still. I mean, I understand he's the owner, and I'm glad because he's one of the few minority owners in sports. I just don't understand his people around him. Like, he's just getting his homeboys and rolling dice. Because that Charlotte team has. I mean, their best draft pick was either Kemba Walker or Emeka Okafor, and that's not saying a lot with neither one. But Adam Morrison, I mean, that was the dude that got drafted right after Dwight Howard back in, I think, 2005. Anyway, I mean, Adam Morrison and Tyrus Thomas, a bunch of other these whack-ass dudes. Come on, man. Mike need to chill. You need to figure out something. Get some Jesus juice in him, figure it out. Because Hornets is going nowhere fast.
We'll come back to Michael.
Get a players coach.
We'll come back to Michael Jordan later as we talk about the greatest leader of all time. In the meantime, let's get to our versus segment. We're going to start off with Omar and John Wall versus Jason Kidd.
Oh, boy, oh, boy. I'm going to just go ahead and keep it going. You already know I'm going with Jason Kidd. Like, there's no comparison. Now, I will say this. In terms of stat-wise, like points, rebounds, assists, there are some variations. For Wall makes 21 points versus Kidd's 13. But rebounds, Jason Kidd got 6. Wall has 4, 5 assists for Wall, 9 assists for Jason Kidd. So it's pretty, toe-to-toe depending on what you need in type of a player. But if you're needing a true point guard, one that gets people involved and can get his own, then you have to go with a Jason Kidd. Not to say that Wall can't, but Wall can't stay healthy. So that's one thing that's against him. And then I'm not even going to mention the 10-time All-Stars with Jason Kidd, the 5-time first team, the 4-time 4 defense. All John Wall had is like a dunk champ, rookie of the year. I mean, not rookie of the year. Rookie first team, defensive second team, NBA third team, and 5-time All-Star. So not to say that anything is against Wall because Wall is a good player, but his health has been his enemy for his whole career, basically.
Justin, who you got?
Oh, I'm taking Jason Kidd. The human triple-double before Russ came along. Yes, that means that means Casey got to be the millennial.
Hell no, I'm not taking
John Wall, I like John Wall coming out of Kentucky. He was a great player. Yes. They had him comparison to Russ. The problem with John Wall is the same thing. I piggyback on what Omar said. His health is what's the problem. His health is one, and dude shuts down on his team. There's days he wants to play. I remember I was watching Washington because I actually thought Washington was pretty good with him and Bradley Beal in the backcourt. I thought they were probably the best backcourt outside of Steph and Clay, except when they were healthy. But the thing is John Wall has an on and off switch. Jason Kidd never had an on and off switch. He played hard all the time, whether it was in, for the exception of his early Mavs days when him and Jimmy Jackson were fighting over Tony Braxton or whatever that story was. But, which I don't blame him at that point. Other than that, I got to go Kidd. I mean, Kidd was a proven winner. The only thing I knock Kidd on is he wasn't a great coach. But other than that, play-wise, hey.
Okay, y'all going to make me do this, so let's go. He's a proven winner because he won one title? Like, 19 years he's got one title. How is he a proven winner? Now, he's a proven producer, maybe. But
he's a proven leader, too.
One title. John Wall.
Still, one title, but look at what his – oh, go ahead.
Wait, what era was he in?
Hold on. I let y'all, hold on.
It was a hell of a man.
Did I not let y'all speak this man's graces in peace without interrupting either one of y'all as y'all led me down this path of John Wall-ism? And now that I'm trying to defend John Wall, y'all want to stop me before I get started? Is that what's happening here? No.
Nope, not at all. Go for it, sir.
The man scores more points. The man got more assists per game. They're about the same in steals per game. John Wall gets a little bit better blocks. When the guy is on the court, he's better than Jason Kidd. That's what the stats and the numbers say. Now,
when he's on the court, though.
Exactly. We're going to get on that in a minute.
Well, if y'all not going to let me make my argument.
Okay, go ahead, man.
Don't be getting sensitive now.
Y'all stuck me down this rabbit hole where I had to defend this man, and now y'all want, man, come on. John Wall's a better basketball player than Jason Kidd. They went one-on-one. John Wall would hoop Jason Kidd. His stats when he plays are better than Jason Kidd. Yes, if he was healthier. Hell, if he plays 10 more years, all his numbers will eclipse Jason Kidd. So I'm going John Wall.
Okay, Justin, you want to get this one, or you go ahead and kick it off?
This one, we both went Jason Kidd. This is laughable.
How? These numbers are very comparable.
So here's the thing. Okay, Casey, no one disagrees with anything you said. However, the key factor is when he's on the court.
That's fine.
And then the amount of years that he's been in the league, he spent a lot of that off the court.
Bro, hold on. Now, you say that, but he's got about half the amount of years as Jason Kidd, and he's got more than half the points. More than half, well, not quite half the assists yet. More than half the blocks. Like, he's only played.
We're really gonna go there with blocks?
I'm going with that with the total body of work.
Here's the thing, though. What has he accomplished? What has total body of work? He loses. How are you missing that with total body of work?
Jason Kidd has one championship. You act like he's a
You're on. Okay. All right. So check this. We're gonna go with you said
Let me shoot. Real quick. Has John Wall ever been mentioned in his era as the top 5 point guard?
Listen, I'm looking statistically saying.
I got you on the stats, but answer the question.
Statistically, he is better than Jason Kidd. We're going to move on.
No. We're not moving off of this one. No.
Yes.
No.
We got to move on.
No.
We got to move on.
Hey, man, we got to
move on. We'll let him move on.
We got to move on.
Hey, you lucky on that one. Because I had some heat coming for that.
Reg don't want that smoke because he don't believe in himself, but it's all good.
Justin, he said body of work. Wall is better than Kids. Are you kidding me?
In the corner. Moving on to the next matchup, we're going to go with my Houston special, Vernon Mad Maxwell versus Patrick Beverly. Justin put me on the spot and said I needed to do a Houston one, so I came up with this one. These two players pretty much had the same contribution, except for one of them won a title and one of them didn't. I'm going with
one too.
Yeah, I'm going with Vernon Maxwell because he was just as good a defender as Patrick Beverly and a better, more reliable scorer. I like everything Patrick Beverly does, but if he had any scoring in him, the Rockets would at least went to a finals with him.
Okay, you got this, Omar.
This one I had an issue with because if you look at it, it's like Vernon all the way. But then, if you actually see Vernon play in the way that Pat play, it's like, the only thing that's determining for me is the fact that Vernon is the 2-time champ, and Pat ain't got one yet. So, if I had to, just on overall career of it, I want to say Pat, but I'd have to go with Vernon just off the strength of rings. But I like Pat. Pat is a big man. Pat was that dude, if you're on the court, you don't like, damn, come on, get this, man. Hey, switch up. Hey, I don't want this dude on me. He's a gnat. He's a pest. And you want that because at that point, that can interrupt your second best player's game, depending on who the second best player is versus the first. So he had a lot of intangible. Oh, man. I'm going to go with Pat, man. I'm going to go with Pat because he can disrupt a game. Go for it.
Reg, you had Vernon, and Omar, you had Pat, right?
Yeah.
All right, so here's the thing. I'm going to be the tiebreaker on this one. I'm never going to knock Vernon Maxwell for winning 2 championships. Here's the problem. He wasn't even the third option on that Rockets team as far as the winning championships.
So he still scored.
Might not even been the fourth option.
He still scored in double figures.
Oh, I give you that, of course. But he's still probably the fourth
not much.
option. I'm going to go Pat Beverly because the fact of the matter is, in individual accolades alone, and far as players respecting him the most, Russ hates him. CP3 said, "Yo, this guy is a pain in my ass." More NBA stars in also heart. Now Vernon Maxwell had heart. He was a hothead. He would punch before he would go ahead and step up.
Real quick.
Pat, all defensive player first team, all defensive player twice second team. My man was not drafted in the NBA. He had to do 3 years overseas to get to the D League to get to the NBA. His body to get to where he has, I'm going to give him more commendable than Vernon. I like Vernon. Vernon has 2 championships, but outside, if we scratch the 2 championships, Pat's individual on defense outweighs Vernon's nothing else but the 2 championships. So in this case, I'm going with Pat over Vernon.
That's a sad travesty that y'all got Patrick Beverly rated over Vernon Maxwell.
Goddamn right.
Y'all on that bullshit. All right.
Body work speaks for itself, I guess.
Cuttino Mobley versus Eric Gordon.
Oh my God, this is terrible.
I chose this one because I know Reggie's favorite player outside of James Harden is always Eric Gordon, so I had to go there with that one.
Well, give us who you got.
I'm going with Eric Gordon because the fact of the matter, at least Eric Gordon, although he is not consistent worth a damn, he has been on several teams, including an All-Star appearance with the Clippers. He's been on several teams where he's won, where he's done something. When Coutinho left Steve Francis and they brotherhood, which can never be knocked. I don't know if two players have been any closer in the NBA outside of probably LeBron and Wade, and even LeBron flipped on Wade twice. Coutinho's career after he left Houston was absolutely nothing. Actually, both of them, both him and Steve, once they left each other, they became absolutely nothing. Their careers went down the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Gordon went from L.A. to New Orleans to Houston, and he's still been a manageable player. He's still going to get you about 15, 16 points. So this season alone, he did have a 50-point game. He's had 2 of them. Body of work-wise, I'm just going to lean off of more Eric Gordon because he has an All-Star MVP, All-Star appearance, and he was All-NBA, and he was All-Rookie. Coutinho
was All-Rookie.
Coutinho was All-Rookie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's it.
Rookie second team. Coutinho was rookie second team.
That's it. Okay. But other than that, Coutinho Mobley is mostly known for being Robin to Steve Francis is Batman, and that's still not saying a lot.
Well, at least he was Robin. This dude is a sixth man.
But he's won 6-man title.
Yes, he's right.
At least he was
Hey,
Robin.
you laugh. That's not an easy title to win though. Like you basically saying you're the sixth best player. Like any team would take you. You're a starter on another team.
I already know that you're gonna also take Eric Gordon, so I'm taking Cuttino Mobley because y'all gonna put me in the corner. So I'm just gonna come out the corner anyway. The numbers are the same.
Just bogo on me out the whole conversation.
Yeah, the numbers are the same. And personally, Eric Gordon chokes. So I'm going Cuttino Mobley because maybe he won't choke. Yes, choke. Choke. He's the king of choke. Listen,
right.
Listen,
come on now.
Listen,
I'm taking Cuttino because Eric Gordon is still choking to this day. Oh.
Well, shit. You see Cuttino recently, my man got fully gray beard and gray hair. He looks like...
Wonderful. That means he's not choking anymore.
He looks like Morgan Freeman now. Good God.
But Eric Gordon is actively choking, with a death grip on a roster spot that he'll always disappear in the playoffs, just like his daddy, James Harden.
I was about to say, if you want to say choking, we got to go with the choke artist himself and James before we go
whatever. Go ahead and give me your Eric Gordon reasons, Omar, since you say I put you out the conversation.
No, it really wasn't. It was just based on just overall, it's just based overall, like, Cuttino, points-wise, for the most part, stats, they, somewhat match up. The only difference is that Eric got 6th man of the year and rookie second team. So even though they both got rookie second team, the determination was a 6th man award. So that was it.
The ultimate determination,
not much.
6th man award.
Yeah. Now I'll say this: Cuttino, like the best time to, Justin, to piggyback off of what Justin said, when him and Stevie was playing together, entertaining. There was no better basketball to watch, but when, there's nothing really, so that's about it. Like, if you want to go with that, so Eric Gordon was just overall just better.
Eric Gordon ain't just overall better. Like, he's all right. And that's the
best.
That's what he is.
And accolades would say different.
No, you have one accolade. Don't say accolades. You have
one
extra accolade.
No. I can actually say accolades because he has 2 to Cuttino's 1.
He got one extra accolade.
Doesn't matter. I use the word correctly. It's plural. He has 2. I could say a few. That's better for you. Or a couple.
At least Mobley, like I said, was Robin. Eric Gordon can't even be Robin. That's my entire argument. Like,
well, here's a question: did Cuttino Mobley ever make it to an All-Star game?
Nope.
But Eric Gordon did.
Nah, he was at the 3-point shooting contest. That's it. He wasn't an All-Star.
Eric Gordon never made the McDonald's All-Star, but that's about it.
I thought Eric was at he went to an All-Star game.
He won the 3-point contest at the All-Star game. That's it. He wasn't an All-Star.
That didn't equate to the game.
So, he's a spectator. All right. We just did Mark Jackson. So let's go Kyle Lowry versus Chauncey Billups.
Ooh. So this was me.
Yes.
And I did a battle of the 2 champion point guards. 2 teams, and they were both from teams that did not expect to make the finals. And Kyle Lowry and they both also 2 journeyman point guards that finally got their niche with that final team. Kyle Lowry with Toronto and Chauncey with the Pistons. Those 2 years they went to the finals and won 1 out of 2. Me, I'm going with Chauncey because Chauncey made that team, that makeshift team they had in Detroit, work. Chauncey was on his probably 2nd or 3rd team by that point, but with him, Rasheed, Ben, Tayshaun Prince, and Rip Hamilton, they won a championship when no one expected that to come. And then they beat a Lakers team that was loaded, including Shaq, Kobe in their prime. I know an older Karl Malone and GP, but they swept them. And he didn't just beat the hell out of the Lakers. They swept the three-time champs at that point. And they were starting with Chauncey Billups, who was the Finals MVP that year. Kyle Lowry was not the MVP that year. Of course, that goes to Mr. Kawhi Leonard of the Raptors from last year. But that's why I'm going with Chauncey Billups in this one. So I'm taking the old guy route.
Yeah.
All right,
You already know what side I'm going to take. Who do you think you are, Mr. Big Shot? Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Billups on that as well.
So
you know what I'm saying? I mean, but check it. But just hear it out. So, I mean, in terms of point-wise, Billups only averages one less rebound, one less assist, and they pretty much average in steals. But then when you get to the accolades and the things that they won, like championships, finals MVPs, 5-time All-Star, NBA second team, 2-time third NBA team, 2-time defensive player, defensive second team. Then you got Kyle Lowry. You got 6-time NBA All-Star and third team. That's it. So, but the thing is, no matter where you put Chauncey, when he was in Denver, when he was in Detroit, did he play? He played somewhere else. Is it New York?
Boston. You got drafted originally to Boston.
So the places that he played, he produced. And I feel like if you remove Leonard, they don't even make the playoffs. So that's why I went with Chauncey, because Chauncey had produced regardless with who he's playing with.
So,
in addition to the awards that he's won, and he's just done more in his career than Cal at this point. Now, maybe in 10 years we could be having a different conversation, but for right now.
So I hate going last because y'all put me in a corner that I have to defend people that don't deserve defending. However,
you could always say which one you really want, then play devil's advocate, like you have done.
Everybody knows Mr. Big Shot. It's Chauncey. Chauncey's a better player. Like
remember on Tuesday we had one where
I don't even have a statistical argument here.
Yeah, so you just got to take that in. Just say Chauncey as well.
I don't even normally y'all can rely on stats, but I can't. So Chauncey Billups over Kyle Lowry.
He was a former Rocket, though, Kyle Lowry. I was going to give you that one.
Hey, we trying to help you out here.
Remember, he got traded for Jeremy Lin.
Oh, Linsanity!
Did we do Kemba versus Steve Francis?
No,
we have not.
Omar?
Oh, let me come back to me. What? Okay, there we go. We back. Ooh. If I had to pick, I'm gonna go with Steve. Like the only stat that Kemba leads him or beats him in is points. Everything else, rebounds, assists, steals, all that. Oh wait, yeah, all that. Steve pretty much has. So, but I'll give Kemba was a 4-time All-Star. Steve was a 3. But Kemba was an NBA third team. Stevie was Rookie of the Year and NBA Rookie first team. And plus, yeah, I mean, that's just what it is. Now,
Justin.
Oh, there's no way I'm picking. And I was a Steve Francis fan, but there's no way I'm picking Steve Francis. This is all easy.
Wait, so wait, I finally get to break a tie?
Yes. There's no way I'm picking Steve Francis.
Man.
Kemba Walker has been more clutch than Steve Francis ever could have been. There's been more big shots by Kemba Walker made in Charlotte in that little term than what Steve Francis has done. The biggest factor with Steve Francis is he was only the guy for, 2 years until Yao came? But even when he was the guy, he was like a human turnover machine. Kemba Walker didn't turn the ball over. If you want to go street ball wise, handles for handles, I may give you a slight advantage over Steve. Steve had a better crossover than Kemba, but Kemba was more clutch in shooting. And let's put it like this: if Steve was on the Rockets may have gone farther Yao's first couple of years until Tracy got there than what they did with Steve. Steve to me was just basically highlight material because of his dunks and his jumping ability, but he never was really the NBA threat because he was a human turnover machine. And he always thought he was better than somebody. I remember I just read, they say at one point he's the best point guard in the league, and this is the Allen Iverson years, Chauncey Billups years, Tony Parker years, and you say you the best point guard, Jason Kidd years. Nah, bro, I'm gonna go with Kemba. At least Kemba, even now, he's in Boston. They lost Kyrie Irving, and they got a better record now than what they did with Kyrie. So I'm gonna go Kemba Walker on this one.
Kemba Walker. All right.
Well, that was
he said next.
That's right. Moving on. Pau Gasol versus DeMontis Sabonis. I guess Pau is retired now. I guess.
What was Pau? Oh,
I'm going with Pau because I get to go first. So I get to actually pick the better guy. Pau's a Hall of Famer. Sabonis is young, and he's got a chance to be good if he can sustain. But right now, it's not even worth having a long conversation. Pau was clutch. Pau won titles. Pau was just annoying to watch play, but it seemed to work very well for him to where he's a 4-time All-NBA player. So, Pau Gasol.
If you want to go with me, this is easy. Actually, go ahead, Omar. I'll be the tiebreaker.
Oh, well, okay. Damn, I was thinking I was going to be the tiebreaker. Okay, it's Pau. I'll just leave it at that. Like, Pau. It's just that simple. Like, to talk about the things that this man has done versus the other one, it's like, what? Like, I tried to look for something, and it said, what's that? Acknowledgments for Sabonis, and it just had hashtag Kanye shrug. Like, it was nothing there. I was just like, okay, I don't have anything, so yeah, Pau.
If this was Sabonis' dad, this would have been a better argument. Sabonis, he has one All-Star appearance. He's on his second team.
But he's only in the league 3 years.
Fourth.
Yeah, but to have nothing? To accomplish nothing?
Remember, Paul won Rookie of the Year, and Paul wasn't even a top 10 pick. And he won Rookie of the Year. That in itself eliminated Sabonis on this conversation. I'm sorry, we're just going to make this unanimous. This is going to be Paul. This is going to be Paul Gasol on this one.
Like, how do you be in the league 3 years and nothing?
He got an All-Star appearance.
He got an All-Star appearance. He made
Don't do him like that.
Year.
What you mean?
Did
nothing?
he?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, he made
check, because I might have missed that one. Hold on.
No, he made it literally this year. But, I mean, he didn't do anything.
But he was there.
Yeah, his presence was felt.
Don't do him like that. Like, he's an All-Star.
Well, if y'all say so, I must have missed that one because I just maybe I didn't feel like writing nothing down. I don't know.
Yeah,
like, I looked and
look at his appearance this year. He's on this year's All-Star team. He made it for the first time, literally this year.
Okay.
All right, Omar, we'll wrap you up with Dame versus Mark Jackson.
Oh man, I'm going Dame all the way. Hold on, where's that at?
Really?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. And there we go. So, you said what?
Yeah,
I'll say this.
Mark Jackson.
I'll say Mark Jackson was the better point guard in terms of leadership, awareness, and things of that nature. Like leadership alone, that goes far. So pure points, I'm going with Mark Jackson on that. But overall, I'm going to go with Dame. You know what I'm saying? Like Mark Jackson, like points-wise, assists, the only part that they really differ is assists. I mean, assists. Because Mark had 8 and Dame had 6. But then, you know what I'm saying, when it gets to the accolades and the things that they've done, you know, the first All-Star, he was Rookie of the Year and Rookie First Defense, and he was also the assist leader. But when you go to Dame Dollar, 5-time All-Star, first team, 2-time second team, 1-time third team. He was also Rookie of the Year and Rookie First Team. So it's just like I like both of them for what they brought to their team. But in terms of leadership, I'm going with Mark Jackson. But in terms of everything else, I got to give it to the Dame Dollars.
So your overall pick is Dame, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do this. I'm going with Mark Jackson.
No, you're
Reason?
not.
Yes, I am. I'm gonna help you out. I'm going Mark Jackson because the fact of the matter is he willed his team to 2 finals appearances. Although he lost, remember he's in that Jordan era. That's the problem. Indiana was nowhere near better, but the backcourt with him and Reggie Miller, one, he made Reggie Miller a household name because he was the one getting Miller the shots he needed. He was facilitating the ball better. Mark Jackson is top 3 in all-time steals and assist list. It's a different type of point guard nowadays. Now point guards are scoring, so Dame is obviously going to win the scoring title no matter what, because Mark's job was not to score. That's what Reggie Miller was for. When he was a Knick, that's what Patrick Ewing was for. His job was to facilitate, and he did it better than mostly anybody in the league not named John Stockton or Jason Kidd when his time came, or Isaiah Thomas in Mark's early years. Dame is a tremendous scorer, but that's all he is. Dame is a 2-guard in a point guard role.
Yes. Yes, he is. I was just going to say that.
Go ahead.
He does average 5 assists a game.
6.5.
Great. 6.5, but think about it. Your best point guards now, okay, they average in probably anywhere between 8 to 12. 6 is kind of low for a point guard.
Not when you score 28 points a game or 24 points a game.
Exactly my point. He's a 2-guard.
You're facilitating.
Remember, Mike averaged 6 assists a game over his career. That's the point. So you're not saying that Mike's definitely a 2-guard.
Well,
and he averaged 6 assists a game.
So who's he going to pass it to?
Who?
Who you want him to pass it to? That's better than him.
You can't neglect that.
That's better than him.
You can't negate that. That's on management. That's not Dame's problem.
Oh, that's what I'm telling you. You want me to have more assists, but who am I going to pass it to that has a higher percentage of making the shot than me?
Oh, higher percentage of making the shot is on Hassan Whiteside. Give it to your big in the paint.
Always in the paint. In and out.
You're not making your big better. At least Mark Jackson made Rich Smith a household name.
I'm just saying.
We didn't know who the hell Rich Smith is. He made the Davis brothers a lot better when both of the Davis brothers were journeyman NBA players. Mark made them better.
Mark passed to Reggie Miller because Reggie Miller was better than him. Dame ain't passing to Whiteside because Whiteside ain't better than him.
if that's your argument,
yes, that's why Scotty was passing to Mike, because Mike was better than him.
Mike could get it, but it's a ball. That means you just want to dominate the ball. So
you give the ball to the guy that's better than you, and if you get a shot, you get a shot.
About LeBron? Wait, time out. So what do you say about LeBron? LeBron,
I'm gonna say that
career averages 8 assists a game. Ain't nobody on any of his teams been better than him. You may argue,
wait a minute,
but he's getting double teamed.
No. To even take a step back, you say the person with the better. That's better than you shoot. What about when MJ passed it to Kerr, or when MJ to pass
They
it?
were wide.
They weren't better than MJ.
They were wide.
Yeah, but based on what you said, the star passes to the better person. That's your word.
Ball 10 times a game. I'm gonna make sure I'm doing it to help us win a game, not just to make a number.
Okay, but Reg, let me go with another one. I'm gonna name 2 other players: Chris Paul, Isaiah Thomas. They were both the best players on their team, but they both have averaged 10 assists or more, and they were better than everybody on their team. Definitely Isaiah and CP3 for the majority of his career, outside until recently when he joined with Harden, he was the best player on any of his teams. He still averaged 10 assists a game.
That's great. But Mark Jackson is not better than Damian Lillard.
Defending.
No.
I'm going Mark Jackson.
I contend that if you put Damian Lillard next to Reggie Miller, those Pacers win a title.
No, if you put Damian Lillard next to Reggie Miller, they're going to be fighting about who gets the ball more.
Nah, they pass. The dude passed. He passed the ball. You act like he's a ball hog. You act like he's Kobe. He passes, but if he's got a better shot, he's got a better shot.
They're going to argue who gets the ball more. It's coming.
No, they're not. All right.
Hold on, because I'm about to. Well, go ahead, but I'm gonna come back to that because
look up his possessions.
That ain't sitting right with me.
Look at Dame's possessions. If you look at how many times Dame gets the ball, versus anybody on the team versus a lot of people in the NBA. His usage position is up there probably with Russ and Harden. Yeah, he's just going to get the ball because he's not facilitating. He's going to score.
And then you say Reggie Miller hardly passed.
Yeah.
He averaged 3 assists. For his career, it was 3 assists.
Because he was
like that. Basically, so you give the ball to 3 people, you pass it to 3 people, and they make them every time for the whole career.
He's a shooter.
I don't know, Reg. You might want to change your wording for some of the things that you say.
I think if you sat Reggie Miller and Damian Lillard next to each other, they win a title, as opposed to what Mark Jackson and them did and just went to a final. And I stick by that story. Oh,
like I believe they will win. Like they could win together once they figured each other out. But
not the finals.
I do.
They may get to the conference finals and not win one.
Yeah, I do. All right.
And then it goes into what era was they in? Because if they were back then, for sure.
Yeah.
Paul Pierce versus Ben Simmons. Of course, I'm going Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce was an absolute monster at times. I was a little disappointed he only won the one NBA championship, but Ben Simmons I agree with that. I think Ben Simmons is a work in process until he completes his game or take his team to another level. He'll always be that second best guy. Paul Pierce was the guy for his team for a while, and Ben Simmons is number 2. So Paul Pierce.
Go ahead, Omar. I'll be the tiebreaker.
All right. So for me, I mean, it's just based on not enough done. You know, like I feel like if you put Paul Pierce on any team, he gonna get his. But if you put Ben Simmons on any team, then it becomes questionable because him and Embiid, when they're healthy, you know, play off each other relatively well. But when he went down, it was times where Simmons was nowhere to be found. So I'm gonna just go with Paul Pierce just because he's the truth and standing proven. But I don't see. I know this might be something big to say, but I don't know if Ben is going to be that guy that we remember when his career is over with.
That's a good one.
All right, so this was a 2-parter because when I first got this from KC, I looked over. I said, "So how the hell are you going to pick a guy that shoots threes all the time on a regular basis versus a guy that's afraid to shoot threes that only has 2 3-pointers in 4 years of his career versus Paul Pierce was averaging 3 or 4 a game?" It's kind of a hard one because if we're going point guard versus, overall body, point guard versus 2 guard / small forward, I'm going to go with Paul. Easy. But if you're going with ability, playmaking ability, is Ben Simmons. The one biggest thing is Ben Simmons, although it's not great, he has been able to make his team at least stay relevant while Embiid's out and whomever else was out. Paul had them years where they were bottom tier teams. Remember, him and Antoine Walker were dominant. When Antoine left, Paul and them didn't even make the playoffs until KG and Ray came. Ben Simmons, as short as his career has been, when Joel Embiid is out, they still won games. They just are not clutch.
Yeah, but the thing.
Oh, go ahead. But the overall situation is you got a guy who's afraid to shoot versus a pure shooter. So, you always go with the pure shooter, easy. Because Ben Simmons is pegged to be the next LeBron, and he's not even in that category because at least LeBron will shoot. Ben Simmons is a great passer. He's a tall. Put it like this:
and rebounder.
Paul Pierce is the elite. Ben Simmons right now is Lamar Odom on steroids, and that's what it is. And until he can get a shot, he's not going to be any better than Lamar Odom. We will never call Ben Simmons the next LeBron. He will be a higher grade, Lamar Odom. I can't even think of the dude's name. Shit.
All right, so two-part question. So, one or 2-part answer, however it goes. So you saying that when Embiid went down, Ben Simmons was able to help them win some games, but it also helped because the East is so weak.
Yep.
I can't remember who they played in the West or if they won. But being in a weaker conference, it's not as hard. Like if it was on the West Coast and he was playing and all he was playing was that, then I don't know that to be the argument to be that he'd be able to carry that team. And then second, in regards to him being a Lamar Odom on steroids, are you referring to Odom when he was a Clipper or when he was a Laker?
When he was a Laker. Well, Odom as a Clipper couldn't stay healthy either, and Odom as a Clipper couldn't stay out of trouble. So I gotta go Odom. I gotta go Odom as a Laker. But
okay, because Clipper wise, he was busting. He was busting out there.
Yeah, and
he was a Clipper.
Ben Simmons does the same thing. He can ball out, but he's a tall point guard, but he can't shoot. And more importantly, he's afraid to shoot. At least Lamar Odom, who wasn't a great shooter either, he would still at least make some shots. When he got to be with the Lakers, Kobe forced him to be a better shot, but he was a facilitator. Ben Simmons, if the clock's on the line and you have no Jimmy Butler, you have no Embiid, and you put the ball in his hand, he's going to pass. He's not going to shoot. And that, in my star, like the Dame factor we talked about before, if my star at the clutch moments is what we need, I would rather him, take the shot and maybe miss a couple so eventually he gets comfortable and he'll make some down the line versus him just not doing it at all. I mean, remember, that was the knock on LeBron for years, his first couple of years at Cleveland, because he would never take the big shot. He would pass. Ben Simmons was that on steroids.
Yeah, but I don't know. In regards to Ben Simmons, it's like, this is a side thing. It's like, I don't know if I really would consider him or like him as the point guard. I feel like he should be a true small forward, and they figure it out.
That had to be the last word on the Ben Simmons versus Paul Pierce. We'll come back next week. We're going to finish out. We're going to do Karl Anthony Towns versus the Admiral David Robinson. We'll talk about who's the better leader, Michael Jordan or LeBron James. Until then, I'm Casey Reginald Jr.
It's your man, J-Dub, Justin Waters in the building.
And it's your boy, Omar Diggs, the one and only you.
This is Underdawg Sportz.